and welcome back to the channel. My name's Vicky, and for those of you who haven't seen the channel before, I cover animal education, getting out and about, and also some crafts as well. So if you want to see some other videos, then have a look at the videos or look in the description and there'll be a few different links in there for you as well. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be having a look at rhinos and learning a little bit more about them. So if you don't know, I used to be a zookeeper. So I was a zookeeper for a number of years. I had to give that up. But what I do now is I actually volunteer at a zoo. So I have another job, but I also volunteer as well. And this means that I can be interactive with the animals and learn and help other people as well. But what I also do is I try and educate you guys on some animal knowledge, which just means that we get a little bit more information known, and you guys can enjoy a little bit more about animals. So, well, let's get into it. When I was at the zoo, I did look after some white rhinos. So there was 2 males, 2 females and 2 youngsters as well. They were super, super cool to work with. Most of the time well behaved, but you know animals, they do their own kind of thing when they want to. So let's start off learning about all the different types of rhinos. I'm going to get into rhinos now for you. So there are actually 5 different types of rhino. Yep, you've got it, 5 different types. So you've got the Sumatran Rhino, the Jarvan Rhino, the Black Rhino, White Rhino and the Greater One-Horned Rhino, which is also called the Indian Rhino as well. So it's got 2 names there. So with all these different types of rhinos, what we do is we can work out how many of each of them are still in the wild, and then from then we can then go on to the ICUN website, which is the International Union of Conservation and Nature, and what they do is they categorise every single animal into whether it is least concern, near threatened, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, extinct in the wild, and then extinct completely. So what we can do here is see which animals we need to concentrate on and really get back to a healthy number. I've also put next to the type of rhino how many they think are out in the wild at the moment and what category each of the rhinos are at currently. The ICUN website does show you every single different animal and where it is in the categories. So let's move on to the rhinos individually now. We start off with the Sumatran Rhino. This is the smallest rhino and it has 2 horns. The lifespan is 30 to 45 years and they live in Southeast Asia in the dense tropical forests. They are browsers, which means that they eat the trees, shrubs and fallen fruit. And they can eat 50 to 60 kilos a day. So it's a good amount there. They are very agile and able to climb mountains easily and manage steep slopes and riverbanks. The rhinos love to wallow in the mud. This protects the skin from the sun and helps with ectoparasites. These animals are mainly solitary animals. The male's territory can be 50 kilometres squared and the female's is much, much smaller at 10 to 15 kilometres squared. And the males meet the females for mating. The young stays with the mum for a while before they move off on their own. And the females become sexually mature at 4 years old and the males at 7 years old. The gestation period is 15 to 16 months. And when the calf is first born, it is 40 to 50 kilos and is weaned at 13 to 15 months. So that's quite a long time with mum, and then what she does is she sends it on its way so it can go off on its own and have its own life then. Now, have you ever heard what noise a rhino makes? Well, they make a whistling sound and a whining sound, and that's especially with the youngsters. So the Jarvan Rhino is from Java in Indonesia, and they live in the lowlands to the highlands, from mangroves over to mountains. So that's quite a wide, different range of areas in which they live. They stand at 1.4 to 1.7 metres tall and weigh from 900 to 2,300 kilos. So they only have one horn. So as we saw before, the Sumatran Rhino we've just seen had 2 horns. This one only has 1. And the Jarvan Rhino has a prehensile lip. So what this means is it is a little bit pointed at the end, and it means that they're able to eat the trees and the shrubs, which make them a browser rather than a grazer. So the black rhinos are more active at night than the other species of rhino. They live in southern to eastern Africa, and their lifespan is 30 to 35 years, and they weigh from 900 to 1,350 kilos, but remarkably can still run 55 kilometres per hour. Now that's some speed, and they can only do that over short distances. There are some distinctive features for a black rhino. So they do have 2 horns and a prehensile lip. So as we saw before with the animal with the prehensile lip before, they are also browsers, which means that they eat the leaves, the bark, and the shrubs there as well. Every animal has its own way to show its territory, and with the black rhino it is by urinating to show the territory there. And a fun fact for you, the red and yellow-billed oxpeckers, so that's a type of bird, they sit on top of the rhino to remove the ticks and the parasites. So the rhinos don't tend to mind about those because they're doing a good job. So we move now on to the white rhinos. Now these are the largest of the rhinos, weighing an incredible 1,800 to 2,500 kilos, with a height of 1.5 to 1.8 metres tall, and can run up to 40 kilometres per hour over short distances. So they have 2 horns, and the front horn is much, much bigger than the back. And the horns can actually grow 7 centimetres per year. So they do continue to grow. But rhinos wear their horn down by rubbing it on things to make it stronger. And when they're using it for fighting and they break a little bit off, it will grow back. Now with the female rhinos, they are rarely solitary. They much, much prefer to be with another female. And of course the calves as well will stay with the mums for a period of time before they come of age, and then they get rejected to make their own way in life. And then our final rhino is the greater one-horned rhino. So they live in India and Nepal in protected reserves. Now this is a species of rhino which went under 200 animals last century to around 3,580 today. Now that's an incredible difference between 200 to 3,580. And this just shows that we can do something to help these animals. So animals that are low in numbers, if we protect them and we're able to stop poaching and look after these animals, we can do amazing things and be able to protect these species. So these animals are amazing swimmers. They can dive and even feed underwater, and quite often found in swamps, lakes and rivers. Now what are some of the similarities between the rhinos? So all of them have a horn. So some rhinos have 1 horn, some rhinos have 2 horns, but they all have a horn, and it's all made of the same thing. It's made of keratin. So keratin is the same material we have for our fingernails and our hair. The reason why a rhino's horn is so hard is because the fibres become closely knit by them rubbing the horn on trees and other objects, and that makes it nice and strong. This horn forever grows, and it can get damaged and broken off, and it can grow up to 7 centimetres per year. All rhinos have poor sight, so when you see on the TV a rhino charging, it is most probably that they have heard a sound with their good hearing, and they can't see what it is, so they don't know what it is. So what they've done is they then run the direction of the noise, and this is what you tend to see on the television when you see a rhino running at a vehicle. It's because they haven't seen it, but they've heard a noise, it spooked them, and they go off and investigate and see what it is. All rhinos love a good mud bath, so love a good mud wallow. This helps protect the kit's skin from sun and any ectoparasites as well. Now, what do you call the different types of rhino? So a male is called a bull, the females are cows, and the youngsters are calves. Now I have some fun facts for you. So black and white rhinos are actually the same colour. They are actually grey in colour. Well, why are they called black and white rhinos then? Well, there was a bit of a misunderstanding a long time ago. So the Afrikaans used to call the white rhino by a different name, they were referring to the wide mouth of the rhino. Now, early English explorers misunderstood, and they thought they were saying white. Now, this is why we call the white rhinos, as our ancestors misunderstood, and then to differentiate between the two, they then called the other type of African rhino black. Yep, so it was a bit of a misunderstanding there. And as you can see on the slide, I'm not entirely sure how to say the Afrikaans word, but I will leave it on the slide for you guys to see and interpret in your own way. So it ended up being a little bit of a mistake, but since then we've carried on with it, but that's how it all started, was a misunderstanding between the Afrikaans and the early English explorers. So Asian rhinos are really, really good swimmers, but the African rhinos, no, they're very poor swimmers, but they all still love a good mud bath. So I hope you guys have enjoyed learning a little bit more about rhinos. I really, really enjoyed this video and putting all the information there for you. It's only a little bit of information on each rhino, but I hope I haven't bombarded you too much with it all. If you guys have any questions, then feel free to put it in the comments just below, and I will get back to you on those. Yeah, and I hope you've enjoyed. These are, so the last few pictures are pictures of the rhinos I used to look after. So there was 2 males, 2 females, and then 2 youngsters as well. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing those guys as well. The reason why they look pinky in colour is due to the iron ore in the soil. So where this picture was taken, the soil is very, very red due to the iron ore in it, and because the rhinos enjoy the mud wallows and rolling around in the mud, they become a little bit like pink rhinos. But underneath, they are grey in colour. If you gave them a good wash off, you would see that grey. But the mud is so important for their skin, it's great for them. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you again next time. And if you're after some more animal videos, then check out in the description, and I will leave the monkey versus apes video for you, and a few of the others as well. And if you've enjoyed this video, give it a nice big thumbs up and subscribe below, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye!